Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Doing pretty good. You? Oh,
Great, great, great.
pretty good.
Happy
Yeah,
Friday.
doc. Same
Good
here.
evening. Good
Yeah,
evening.
Friday.
All right, all right. So we are starting here time shortly. I think we have our special guest is here. We're waiting for our special guest. I think she's here. So we are all set to go. We can go ahead and start time now. Well, appreciate everybody's time. This is Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we try to keep it an hour and a half. Tonight, we have one of our very own, Teresa, is a cybersecurity vulnerability analyst. She's going to be here to share her story with us, just like how we've been doing for the past, I think, 3 weeks now, right? And then next week, we are going to I'm trying to get Isaac next week. He's a SOC analyst. So Isaac is also going to be in the hot seat next week. So I appreciate everybody's time. Uh, we will go through the usual process of going through cyber news, and then we will look at our discussion for tonight. So welcome everyone, and like I always say, you are definitely going to get something for your toolbox. And it's Friday night; you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here, and we appreciate your time. We are going to make sure your time spent here is not wasted. So in the chat, you can put in team hashtag team live in the chat and take a screenshot of that. You can use that for certification renewal. For if you don't want to sit for the exams, but you want to use points like continual educational points, you can use that. And then also you can put in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from. That way we will give you some shout out when we're about to wrap up for the evening, right? So appreciate everybody's time. You are welcome. We are starting time now. So, Eretmis Cyber Chat brought to you by Eretmis Academy, a cybersecurity institute based out of New York. And we do this every Friday night. So, if this is your first time of joining us, we encourage you to join us every Friday night. If you want to grow in the cybersecurity space, this is the place to be. So, here you are together with like-minded people. You are going to learn and network. That is the most important thing here. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Ledoux. I'm going to be the only pilot tonight, and Teresa is going to be a special guest. I'm a cybersecurity consultant, cybersecurity everything. I'm the CEO of Eretmis Inc., and then also the founder of Eretmis Academy. I'm a former I'm the former professor at CTC and also University of Maryland Global Campus, and a former United States Army captain, a member of the Forbes Technology Council, and the CEO of Eretmis Inc., a cybersecurity consulting firm. I'm also a QSA, so I'm so many things. So with that being said, Eretmis, we are partners with CompTIA, and what this means is that we have 20% discount from CompTIA that we also push down to all Eretmis members. So if you are here and you are looking to sit for any CompTIA security, any CompTIA exams, right, reach out and we will show you how you're going to get a 20% discount. And for the Team Live that I was talking about, hashtag Team Live, if you want to renew any certification that you've had already, you can choose to sit for the exam again, or you can choose to use continuing educational points to renew. So taking screenshots of this program and all previous ones that we've had, I think each one, an hour counts as 1 point. So depending on the type of certification, if it requires you to have 50, 20, 30, you can, put them together and they will easily help you to renew your certification without resitting for the exam. And for Cyber Chat, we have a WhatsApp group, right? So in order not to miss any of our Cyber Chats and also in order to network, you can always join this WhatsApp group. The link will be posted as we are moving through the program. And for our YouTube, we are transmitting live on YouTube now. All Cyber Chats are posted on YouTube, so you'll be able to have access to our previous Cyber Chats. And for tonight, we will look at our cyber news. And there is some little learning on the cyber news on the vulnerability side, because we are tackling vulnerability analyst tonight. So in the news, guess who is in the news tonight? OpenAI. So the owners of ChatGPT, right? So why are they in the news? So they've increased the amount of money they were paying for bug bounty hunters. Now they've actually increased it from it was 20K if you found something that was substantial to 100K, right? Now maybe somebody is sitting here like, what is bug bounty and this 100K and all this? So I'm gonna throw it to everybody. If you can raise your virtual hand if you know what a bug bounty program is. It falls within the vulnerability management space. So, Ian, please go ahead.
Yeah, bug bounties are essentially exercises where companies hire different programmers to actually go into their system and hunt for any bugs they might notice. And as you said, they usually get cash reward for this.
Okay, so are they hiring programmers or who exactly is doing this? Is it a program? Like who exactly is doing this? Is it like a programmer?
Hired sort of like hired hackers, white hats.
Okay, yes. So pen testers, so ethical hackers, we will look at it. But do they hire them or anybody can just try their hands on this?
More or less anyone can try their hands.
Okay. Okay. So and anybody else has any experience or know something more about bug bounty programs? And where would this program fit in the why would a company even need this in the first place? Anyone?
Yeah, so I think I have to stay proactive.
Say that again, please.
I think it helps the company to stay proactive.
Also,
to stay proactive.
And I'm saying like how so? How are they staying proactive with this? If you can break it down further.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if they can find the vulnerabilities or the bugs before hackers have access to them to penetrate their system, then they can remediate those vulnerabilities or mitigate them.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Rightly so. Charles, please go ahead. You are muted if you're trying to speak, Charles. Okay, Kwame, you can go ahead whilst Charles is working on his audio.
Yes, I think it's helped improve cybersecurity in within companies, basically by identifying and fixing potential threats before any malicious hackers exploit them.
Okay. Yes. So what is the difference between bug bounty programs and a company hiring a penetration tester to come and do a pen test on their infrastructure?
With bug bounty programs, I mean, it's like a business or a government organization or entity can set up a in-house bug bounty program, basically through different platforms, and yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kwame. Anybody else? Ian, please go ahead.
Oh, penetration testing can be a little obstructive. It's like how you say active.
Left onto Harmon Road.
Yes, please go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, penetration testing is considered like active testing, and it has the potential to disrupt like normal business hours unless they schedule downtime to make room for penetration tests.
Okay. And what about bug bounty? They can also do that at any time, or they have like scheduled times for them to do that. Not you, and like somebody else can jump in. Ransford, kindly go ahead.
Sure. All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, I would say bug bounty is pretty much like open to anyone that has a goodwill to try to penetrate them. and then they get paid for that if they discover, just like a way of discovering vulnerabilities that are in their system. But for pen testing, they actually hire people to do that. But this for bug bounty, I think it's just like an open book for anyone to try and see. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Okay. Yes. Good take. George, please go ahead.
Good evening, Doc. I think pen test is time bound, and that's what I would say. That's my little experience about it.
Okay. And bug bounty is not necessarily time bound.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Femi, please go ahead, and then we are going to move forward.
Yeah, I would say bug bounty is okay when a country, when a company already have their vulnerability testers, when they have their vulnerability analysts, when they have their security control assessors, and they have the confidence that at least they are good to go, and then they can go extra mile to hire pen testers to still try to penetrate without success. Now they are giving open people the opportunity to be able to assess their account, to assess their company, to ensure that they have confidence. And if there is no confidence, if they have any reason why they are not tidied up enough, they pay for that one vulnerability assessment done by an external person. Just like when you have hackers from outside, white hackers, they are paying people to hack into their account, knowing fully well that they've paid enough, they've done enough internally, and they've done enough from the pen testers. So the little, maybe 10%, 5% that may be opened, they're opening it up for people outside to try. And if you are able to get it, you get paid.
Okay. Thank you, Femi. So before we jump into like the details of it, and then which will make this story make more sense, in every company, in terms of for cybersecurity, they need to have a vulnerability management program in place, right? And the vulnerability management program is where we will have a vulnerability analyst and people within that space. Now, when we talk about vulnerability management, mostly, most people will just think we are all biased. We just think about the vulnerability assessment part, which is conducting a vulnerability scan and then identifying your vulnerabilities and fixing them. That is not all when it comes to the total vulnerability management program. That is a part of it, right? As part of your vulnerability management program, your vulnerability management on its own, it falls under the bigger umbrella of risk management within the company, right? And under your vulnerability management, you also have your patch management and other sub programs underneath it. Now, let's discuss just the vulnerability management program. Conducting your vulnerability assessment is part of it. Doing your scans and fixing vulnerabilities identified. Yes. Conducting regular penetration tests, where we are either going to have an in-house pen tester who is an ethical hacker who is going to try to break our network or try to breach our network, and whether they are successful or not, they give us some insight into vulnerabilities they identified. So that is one. And then also we have vulnerability research program, which is part of the bigger vulnerability management program. And then we have also the company should have a channel, a reporting channel, whereby if somebody from the outside discovers a vulnerability, they are able to report it within the shortest possible time. And vulnerability researchers who discover the vulnerability, they also get a response within the shortest possible time to the effect that the vulnerability is going to be fixed or looked at. Now, as part of this, we also have the bug bounty program. Now, for the bug bounty program, is pen testing that is like 24 hours. And the pen testers or the ethical hackers, they don't get paid unless they find a vulnerability, and not just any vulnerability, but a substantial vulnerability that can really cause issues or problems for the company, right? So we have some penetration testers, ethical hackers. All they do is they don't work for a company. They go around one company to the other, trying to find vulnerabilities or trying to hack, or take part in their bug bounty program. Now, the bug bounty program is a whole structure on its own within the company. It takes a lot of money to run a bug bounty program. So a company cannot just get up one day and say we are, doing a bug bounty program without having the necessary structures in place. Now, when they are doing bug bounty, are the hackers really hacking the real network of the company, or they are hacking another network that mimics or that is almost exactly the same or similar to the actual network? Anyone? What do you think? Do you think they are going to be hacking the actual, company's network, like the production line?
I would think like a honeypot or like a.
Yes. So Jennifer put in there honeypot. Yes. So honeypot, the idea about honeypot is okay, but not necessarily a honeypot, right? Because honeypot, by definition, we are using that to trick real hackers, right? To think what they are hacking into is the real network of the company, right? But here, for the bug bounty program, we will set up another network that mimics, that has everything and has the same, exactly almost the same as the real network, right? And that is where hackers, from all over the world can be, trying to hack throughout the day. They can do it at any time, anywhere. So that is what George was talking about. The one that we are doing within our company, it is time bound because that is actually on our network. The one that they are doing for bug bounty, it is not time bound. It's 24 hours. You can go in there constantly researching. Sometimes it will take them months, weeks, years to find something, right? Now, when they find something, there's a channel that they're going to report that through. And if the company, review, they will do a review of it. And if that is actually, what they are looking for or something that is like a big catch, then they get paid, right? So they get paid. We are going to discuss what an IDOR is. So they get paid by, some certain level of, by levels, depending on how much they're able to catch, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So everybody sees the bigger picture where a bug bounty program will fit within an organization and right under the vulnerability management program for the company, right? So like I said, it takes a lot of resources and a lot of money and effort to run a bug bounty program. So, but companies who are doing this, it's good for them because, like, I don't remember who said that, it makes them proactive, right? Just like how the pen testing that they are doing within the company also helps them to stay proactive. But the difference between this is the pen testing you are doing within the company is not the whole entire year, right? And then also you cannot use your production line to be doing this. There will be a big distraction because you are working and somebody is randomly scanning your network and doing all sort of, right? So if there is one network that they can, play around with and, an application on there similar to what you are using that they can play around with and trying to find problems and issues in it, that will help the company, right? So for OpenAI, they have such a program. And, before now, they were paying $20K, so $20,000 for, if you, like, that was the maximum payout. So if you found the biggest vulnerability, they were going to pay you, the max you could get paid by participating in their program was $20K, right? And anybody can, participate in a bug bounty program. So if you are just starting off in ethical hacking and you think maybe now you have the skills and you can, try your hands on, yes, you can try your hands on different, if you go online right now and you type in bug bounty programs, there's a whole list. Different companies have them. Google and other big companies, they have it, right? So now OpenAI, they are pushing their maximum payout to 100K, right? So I think now this story will make more sense. So the increase is to help draw more people into the program, and two, to motivate ethical hackers to be able to participate in this, to be able to find, vulnerabilities and help OpenAI to be more secure, right? So we are going to talk about something, priority I1 to 3 IDOL. So what is IDOL? That is the next thing that we are going to be looking at, right? We are looking at the cyber news, but we also have to learn from it from the educational standpoint. So this is kind of the vulnerabilities that you are finding, the tiers that they put them in. So previously they were paying, a minimum was 200 to 400, and the maximum was 6,500 to 13,000, right? But now those numbers obviously will change because they've pushed this money, higher than, I think it's 80,000 increase. So although we are not studying bug bounty tonight, but I was asking, what is IDOL? What does it stand for, right? So it's insecure direct object reference. And this simply is a security vulnerability whereby applications allow user input. So any application that allows user inputs, if it doesn't properly do authorization checks or authentication, then anyone will be able to have unauthorized access to sensitive information that is being housed or that is being hosted on this application, right? So IDOL vulnerabilities, that is what for bug bounty programs, that is the pay scale, right? How many of that you find will determine how much you get. So that is what we are looking at. The maximum payout was to 20K, right? So the minimum was 200. In terms of how many IDOLs that you find, the maximum is these figures, right? So, but the cap before then was 20K, now is 100K, right? So that means more money for our, ethical hackers who will be trooping in to do bug bounty programs. Now, some ethical hackers are making a killing doing bug bounty programs, but if you have 100 ethical hackers doing bug bounty programs, probably maybe 5% or thereabout are, the ones who are really making big money out of it, right? You can find something and you're probably going to get $400 or $500, based on how much, the level of IDOL that you are able to find and what that merits in terms of payout, right? So simply any vulnerability that requires or that has to do with user inputs that an attacker can use to exploit an application is what we will classify as IDOL, right? So with that out of the way, we are going to jump into tonight's discussion with Theresa as our special guest. And like we did last week, everybody else is going to be my co-pilot. Theresa will introduce herself, and then once she introduces herself, give us a rundown into what she's doing. The floor is open. You can ask your questions, but a little bit of housekeeping stuff. Kindly raise your virtual hand or put your question in the chat, and we are going to answer that accordingly, right? So before we jump into and bring Theresa in, we are going to do a quick run through the programs that we offer. So we are offering, before I do, at least I forget, still going back to cyber news. So OpenAI, one thing that I forgot, kindly, this is for you to dig more into it. They have some cybersecurity scholarship programs, right? Research scholarship programs. So kindly look into that. They also have AI cybersecurity initiatives that they are pushing. You can also look into that. I just wanted to bring that up. We didn't have that much time to go through all those different programs OpenAI is putting out there. So with that out of the way, we offer our AI governance specialist program. Now, AI governance is like the GRC of AI, right? Now, the GRC of AI is called AI governance. And what this program is about, simply, you're not going to be doing coding or none of that. We are looking at the governance, risks, compliance of AI systems that organizations are using, right? So if your company is using any AI systems and tools, we need to be able to have structures and measures in place to make sure they are in compliance with all AI frameworks or standards or laws and regulations that are out there within your country, within the world, depending on your company's footprint. Also, we have to look at the risks that AI poses. So AI comes with a lot of risks, bias. It has to be transparent. It has to be, we can go into all those details. And then also within the governance side, there has to be policies, structures in place within your company. So that is what you're going to be doing as an AI governance specialist, right? So it has nothing to do with coding, and you don't necessarily have to be have an IT background or necessarily cybersecurity background. But if you have any of those, it's a big plus, right? Because you'll be able to also understand what is going on more, than somebody starting from scratch. But yes, simply you can start from scratch also as well. Now, also our cloud security program. This is vendor neutral, so we cover all the cloud systems that are all the cloud service providers. So Azure, AWS. We also cover Google Cloud. Now, those are the three big ones, and that is what we cover. Now, for this also, but for this, we encourage you to at least have some cybersecurity background, right, coming into this, because if you don't, the concepts and the theories that we are using and the best practices we are using in the cloud is no different from what we use on-prem, right? So if you understand a little bit or have a good working knowledge, then it becomes more easier and it makes more sense to do that in the cloud, right? And this is a very interesting class, comes with a lot of hands-on mini projects and an overall big project that you are going to be working on. And then we also look at it from the strategic point of view. So it's not just you in the trenches digging, but also if you're in a managerial leadership role, you should be able to still function effectively, right? And then for folks who are looking to break into the cybersecurity space, we encourage you to look into our cybersecurity entry-level course. This course, don't get carried away by the name. Even if you're in IT already, this course is really going to help you. It takes you from scratch. We assume you don't know anything, and we build you up all the way intermediate level knowledge and skill, and then we move you into our internship where you get to work on real world security projects. And you're also going to have mentor and mentors here to help and guide you. And then we also help with job placement. We help with interview prep, resumes, LinkedIn optimization, and all that as well, right? And then for folks looking to specialize, if you're already in the cybersecurity space, but you are looking for that niche to specialize in, to be the boss in any company you're going to find yourself, then we encourage you to join our PCI DSS program, which is the Payment Security Compliance Program. This is by far the highest. So this course has the highest paying students in the Eretmis Academy family, right? So look into our PCI program, is the best out there. Now, for folks looking to bridge between knowledge and skill, if you have a certification and you are not sure you'll be able to do the job, you have some training elsewhere, it was just theory, you've not actually worked on any project, we encourage you to look into our GRC internship. Our new cohort is starting tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you are still on the fence, trying to see what to do within the security space, like I always say, you can learn all you want. You can, learn theory all you want. On the job, what you're going to do is not multiple choice. So problems that you are going to encounter on the job, it's not going to come with multiple choice answers for you to choose from. It's not an exam on the job. You're actually going to do, right? So on the job, if you are, hey, John, welcome. We need help with our policies. So there you are. These are the two policies we have. Come up with other policies that we're supposed to have, or help us conduct a security posture assessment. And there you are scratching your head. At that point, your knowledge can only take you so far, right? Because if you've never done something, you've never done it. You can read about it all day long, but if you've never done it, but this internship really helps you to work on these projects in real world. And then also the best part, we walk you through to do these projects manually. So during interviews, you have something to talk about. Not like, how do you conduct risk assessment? You're like, oh yeah, I use ZenGRC. And then what? And ZenGRC, right? But here we take you through how to manually do it. So step by step, you do this first, you do that second, right? What frameworks are you using? What rich registers are you using? Right. So I can't speak to this enough. There are a lot of folks on here who've gone through this program who can attest to it. Right. So if you've never done anything in the cybersecurity space in terms of projects, kind of look into this, right? Don't take my word for it. Ask folks who've been in it and those who are working currently on the job, what this has done for them on the job. And we've had, I think, Bettina, we've had Michael, and tonight we have Theresa, and there's a whole host of them, who will attest to what they got from this program. So with that, we are going to jump into our discussion. So Theresa, please, if you are on here, kindly unmute yourself and let us know you are here, and then we are going to start our discussion. So the WhatsApp link is going to be posted, so kindly be on the lookout. Whilst we are going through the discussion, we are going to go ahead and post the link. Right, so is Theresa ready?
You better give me that. Yeah, Dr. Edu, I'm here. So just like you said, I'm Theresa Bekwe, and for my job title, I'm the Vulnerability Program Manager for Signify, and I joined Eretmis Inc., Eretmis Academy, June 2023, and in December I got this role, and I've been doing this job since.
All right, Theresa, we appreciate you joining us. Now, if you do us the honors and walk us through what you do on a day-to-day basis as a vulnerability analyst.
Of course. So for vulnerability management, my job really is to identify, prioritize, and mitigate vulnerabilities on organization systems and networks so that we can reduce cyber attacks. And so what I do on a daily basis is that my job is to make sure that all these vulnerabilities that are identified on our network are remediated. And so I do all that, mitigating those vulnerabilities and making sure they go away. So when I come in, we do use this system called Vulcan Cyber. That is our vulnerability management system. And with this tool, we have all our scanning tools integrated with it. So what it does is that we do have scanning vulnerabilities coming from Qualys, CrowdStrike, NetSparker for applications. We do have App Omni for our monitored services. And then all these are dumping vulnerabilities into the Vulcan tool. And what the tool does is that it helps us to prioritize these findings as they come in. And so once we get them, my job is to just go into the system to make sure that we are focusing our resources on the critical ones that we have in our environment. And so the tool helps us to prioritize those findings based on the risk scores. And so once those are identified, within this tool too, it's also linked to our ticketing system. And so my job is that I have defined some criteria within the Vulcan tool that is able to take these findings, create a ticket in the tool, and then take it to Jira so that I can track these findings with the associated the SMEs that are responsible to remediate them. And so once they come in, the tickets come in. Once I log on every morning, my first task is to go into Jira and see which critical vulnerabilities have been identified. And then once I see them, I will go ahead to schedule meetings based on the ones identified for the day. And it's a continuous process for me because these vulnerabilities don't cease to come in. So every day I do have meetings with SMEs from our application team, our data team, our network team, looking at all these vulnerabilities that are coming from their system, their end, to see how we can remediate them within the company's SLA. So that is what normal basis I do, the job I do every day. And I heard you earlier that vulnerability management is not just finding vulnerabilities. We also have integration. We do have integration with pen testing vendors as well. And so once these testing is done, the pen testing for our mobile devices, for our networks, all these are also dumped into the Vulcan tool. And so in as much as we are looking at vulnerabilities on our systems, penetration testing results are also being dumped in, and I'm also working with the teams to remediate these findings.
Thank you, Teresa. So as you're going through, you were mentioning all these tools, and it might sound a bit very, very intimidating for somebody who wants to get into this space. Does it mean I have to learn all these tools before I even apply for a job, or how will that go? Did you know how to use all these tools before you started?
No, I did not know how to use all these tools. Once I got on, they were now onboarding the Vulcan tool. So the company provided all day training, I think 2 days. And then I learned the tool to how to use it. And then for those scanning tools, I do collaborate with engineers for each of these tools, scanning tools. We do have engineers who are specifically working on those tools, and so once these results come in, I do have a session with them to really understand what a vulnerability is. So you really don't have to know all these tools before. When they were hiring me, they didn't mention that I was going to use all these tools. They just mentioned a few, just to know that you understand the concept of scanning tools and how they work. But it's not a requirement for you to be hired. No.
Okay, so and are you the one doing the scans, or the
These are
engineers do the scans? And okay, kindly
the,
go ahead.
these are automated, right? And so they are running by themselves and dumping the results into the Vulcan tool. If there is any question I work with the engineers assigned to the tool. So I'm not the one running the scans, but I'm also responsible to really understand, right? And so once the SMEs come on, some of them is the first time for them seeing the vulnerability. They don't even understand. But good thing for me is that I always have these SMEs on the calls. And if they have any questions, they will answer them. And as I meet them and as I talk to them, I'm also learning every day. So sometimes they are not on the call, but with me speaking with them so many times, I get to understand some of these findings, these vulnerabilities.
Okay, thank you. So somebody's asking what tools were you familiar with before you got this job? Like before you started this role, like what tools were you familiar with?
I would say the only tool that I knew was Nexus, and that was me using the trial version, and that is all I spoke on my interview. But I got there and I have to uh, work with SMEs on different tools. It's a lot of them. There is one called App Omni. There is one called I have Orca CrowdStrike, Invicti for applications, NetSparker for applications as well. So it's a lot of them that you wouldn't be able to know all of them. Some of them are learned on the job, and it's okay.
Okay, so also coming back to the tools and everything that you said you are doing, looks like you are doing a lot. How do you keep track of all these tools, and how do you really maintain your sanity? Looking at all these tools that some of which you are not probably even familiar with, right? What is helping keep your composure without
Yeah.
running away from this role?
Yeah, good question there. And one thing I said was that, these are sources for our vulnerabilities, right? And so my job is to know the source for those vulnerabilities once they come into Vulkan, once they come into Jira. So if I get as me on the phone trying to remediate an issue with a server, I have to know just the source, right? And the technicalities, like I said earlier, I learn them as I speak with these engineers, right? And I don't have to know all the intricacies of the tool. I just have to know pertaining to the vulnerability, the source of it, and really to be able to understand. And then also, this Vulkan tool has analytics portion to it. And so each vulnerability that is identified, they provide us with recommendations how that vulnerability can be fixed, right? So there is help in the system for you to know. So I'm not required to know all that. That's why there is an engineer, right? And there is a support system. So I'm collaborating with all these teams to do my work. In as much as I'm also relying on them, I'm learning as I go. Yeah.
All right. So there's a question in here. It says, what is the size of your team? What are your core skills for the job?
So the size for my team, I will say that I'm part of GRC, but I work with like looking at the teams I work with is a lot of them. The data team, the network team, servers that are still running our critical end of life assets. So I'm always meeting with new people, and it's unending. But really, I don't have to keep track of all that. I always focus on the vulnerability at hand, and then make sure that it's remediated. So the size of my team is based on the vulnerabilities identified. That will throw me to wherever I have to go, whoever I need to reach out to fix these vulnerabilities.
Okay,
I
and I
hope I
think that,
answered the question.
yes. So that was the size and where you fit within the organization. Now, the next one is, what are your core skills for this job? I mean, what do you think are some of the skills that you need? So you can run us through your technical and non-technical skills that is helping you really do this job.
So for the technical skills, right, you need to really understand some of these vulnerabilities as they come in. So you need to have technical skills, knowledge of some of these vulnerabilities. And so I do have access to the National Vulnerability Database, and I'm always researching on some of these new CVs as they come in. So the skills needed, you need technical knowledge to be able to even support these teams to even lead them. Yes, I do have the technical SMEs on my side, but you also have to bring your portion to the table as well. So you need technical skills, and then also you need communication skills, right? So I'm always meeting, it's a field that you are always meeting new people. And really the people you meet is always based on the vulnerability identified. And it's the whole enterprise that this kind of is going on. So I'm always meeting new people. So you really have to know how to communicate. And it's a remote role, but I always want to show a face to what I'm doing. So always I'm showing my video. I'm meeting new people. So it's just normal life, right? Create a face to the job you are doing. I meet them. We talk on, how these people are. You just, like relate to them normally. Make sure that everybody is comfortable. Then you present the issue. You have to know how to talk properly and communicate properly as you meet these new teams. Also, you need to be very detailed oriented, right? You need to know your facts before I meet these people. I take time to look at the vulnerabilities, what the recommendations are, so that I can speak to them as I meet them. Also, you need to have like um, I would say project management skills, right? So you have to be able to be flexible. You have to be able to lead because as when you meet somebody and you really don't know what you are doing, the person will not take you serious. So really have some leadership skills that you can command some like get somebody to do the ask, right? So and also be human. Just connect with people and not not be talking, just you come there, you just no, you have to be able to connect to people, have human skills, have soft skills. And I believe there is a more to it, but these are the few I can think about.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. So I think there's a question. Moise, please go ahead.
Yeah, Teresa, good evening and congratulations, sister. So let me ask you a question. Before you became manager, what was your first role when you finished your training with Dr. Edu? So how did you start your field before you became a manager? Thank you.
Thank you. Good question there. So we finished the training, I think somewhere in October. I got the role in December. And really, what I can share with everybody is that the cybersecurity field is not really like developed in most companies. So when I got there, I was the only vulnerability program manager. And so they made me aware that it's just you. We are now building out the program. And so we are not expecting you to be able to support all these findings coming in. And so as time went on, I think now I have 3 more people under me that I'm working with. So my first role was just being the vulnerability program manager, and that is what I'm doing now.
Right. Thank you. And there's another question in here. So what are your work hours? Do you work on the weekends? Are you on call? Are you doing remote or you're doing hybrid?
I'm doing remote. When I was searching for the job, I just told myself I need a remote role. So it's remote. I start at 8:30 and I'm done by 5 p.m.
Okay, thank you. And how would you respond to, there's a question in here. How would you respond to a 0-day vulnerability?
So for 0-day vulnerability, just like I said earlier, I do have support teams that I work with. And so once these come in, we just meet with those engineers to see, yes, there are no patches or anything like that, but how can I do have a support team that I work with. I'm just leading these teams. So there is a GRC manager, there is a risk analyst, and when these things show up, all of us meet together to see what we can do to remediate that issue.
All right. Andy, please go ahead whilst I go through the chat. You can go ahead and ask your question, Andy.
A couple of things. Could you put back the places where you said to look at 3 cybersecurity sponsorship thing that you had talked about earlier? If you could put it back on the screen so I could capture it.
Oh, no, I mean, you can simply just go on Google and type in OpenAI cybersecurity sponsorship program or cybersecurity. Yeah, I think it's their sponsorship program.
Okay.
And you should like it is going to bring it up.
Okay. And then
So,
to Teresa, what's the name of your company? And what is amazing to me is they keep talking about these openings of cybersecurity, but I can't seem to find in Illinois. I don't know if I'm typing them in wrong or it's not coming up.
Okay, so before Teresa comes in, I think if you're applying for a role, I wouldn't limit myself to my state because Teresa is doing a remote job now. The company can be in Idaho, and I will be in New York, right? So that would be my advice. Don't limit yourself to if you are limiting yourself to your state, then you are looking for a job that is going to be in person.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So just apply for any, and for all you know, the company is in New York, but they have a branch or they want to set up a new branch in your states, right? So don't really limit yourself to, you have to be open to all roles. So even if it's in person, if it's remote, I'll do the interviews for the practice of it, right? Now, if you do get an offer, I'm just throwing Bettina in here. So Bettina, she was interviewing for almost anything and everything. She got a job in North Carolina, right? But the money wasn't big enough for her to move. So she didn't go with it, right? And for that role, she was going to build their cybersecurity program from scratch. They didn't have any cybersecurity anything, right? And she went in there with a plan, with a strategy. We did, our job placement, and I gave her some material and tools to build a cybersecurity program from scratch. She went in there, so she went in the interview literally telling them what she was going to do. They were not even asking her anything. She went in there with, this is what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. They were like, yeah, you are the right person for the job. But, the money, they didn't want to push it up. It was, I think, around like 130, 100. But for her to move from, I think she's in New Jersey or New York, she wanted something around 160, 100, but they wouldn't push it. So she let
too
that.
bad. They missed out.
She got this new role. No, but now, I mean, she had 2 offers. So she went with the second one that was very close to her. Right.
Okay.
So I think that answers your question. So don't limit yourself to one state. Just apply. Now, somebody's asking if Vulcan Cyber is now part. Okay, there's a comment. Is now part of Tenable. Okay, that is just some business something. George is asking, what is the biggest challenge you ever faced as a vulnerability analyst?
So the biggest challenge is really understanding the technical intricacies of these vulnerabilities as they come in, right? Some of them you don't know, some of them, but as I said earlier, the tool is very helpful. It gives recommended action that is needed to mediate, right? There are details. It has like threat intelligence feature in it that you can research around it to understand. So really the challenge was getting that technical know-how to understand these different vulnerabilities as they come in. But with the support of the tool, I'm able to learn, and I'm also a continual learner, always trying to learn. And this has really helped me to overcome that challenge.
Okay, thank you. And for Andy, somebody put in the chat, Matthew put in the chat the OpenAI grant, cybersecurity grant. So you can kindly use that link. Now, I think there was another question for you, Theresa. Okay, so 0 day, we talked about the 0 day. What are some of the questions you are likely to be asked as a vulnerability analyst during an interview? So what were some of the questions they asked you during your interview? Or if, you said you have people coming in now, you are the manager over there. So if I'm applying for a vulnerability analyst role, what are some of the questions you are going to ask me?
So, if I recall, during my interview, they were asking me how I keep up with new threats, right? How I keep myself updated. And I think that one, I gave them a response of the National Vulnerability Database and signing up to receive newsletters and new threats as they come in. And really, for the role, you need to know those CVSS score, how these run in relation to the National Vulnerability Database, and how these vulnerabilities are ranked. New CVs coming in, so it's all about you understanding that job of like vulnerabilities from different assets and how they are remediated. The how is my supporting the tool that I'm getting, and also talking with their these SMEs. So understand the role. What do you do as a vulnerability manager, right? And how you going to work with people. They really want to know your people skills and how your project management skills. I have a background in project management. So to me, meeting people, talking to people and getting them to do the work, that was not really a struggle for me. But they will ask you that question, how your soft skills, how you relate to people, and how you can like align with people, form relationships so that you can get a job done. All this are critical to you. Like it's a possible question that they are going to ask you for these interviews.
Thank you, Theresa. Now, I think there was another question in here. Let me pull this up. Okay, do you have any problems chasing down engineers and SMEs to mitigate these vulnerabilities?
Yeah, it's obvious, and it's one thing I always deal with. Some of them will come on the meetings very defensive, and they would, yes, they are those responsible, but they will push the burden to somebody else. One example was this guy I met. It's like they added new companies, and so like new subsidiary companies. And so I got the name that he's the one responsible to remediate some findings in quality. And this guy just came and said, well, I'm moving to a new team, so I might not be the one responsible. We talked about 5 minutes. He's like, okay, I'll support to do the work. And you tell me the way he spoke, he just said he's not the one. He's been remediating these findings for 3 months now. So if I was not able to really talk to him, relate to him, he would have gone away, and me, I will be running around for some time, even before getting his name back to say that he is the person responsible. So, of course, you are going to get people who will run away and say they are not responsible for. You meet them, and it's like me working on servers, right? Somebody will come and say, this portion is not mine. You meet another person, the same person will say that. But I don't give up, very resilient. because this is on me. At the end of the day, I think every month I run a vulnerability program review, and I have to show the progress I've made remediating all these findings. And so there is a report for me to give. And so I always try, even if, yes, it's tough to, people will run away, people will say they are not responsible. I go back to their managers, get a name again. And what I got to do was that I got to the point where I was inviting their managers to the meeting. If you give me a name, I will tell you that, well, do you mind if I include you in the meeting? And once I did that, I got people to own up to these vulnerabilities more, and there was more remediations from that end.
All right, thank you, Teresa. Ichiyama, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Edu. Thank you, Teresa, for coming to give us to share your experience as a vulnerability manager. So my question is, after you identify vulnerabilities, for the critical vulnerabilities, is there an SLA?
Yes, there is a
them?
company SLA that we have to follow. So for my company, I think criticals are 30 days, and then we go to 60, and then we go to 90. So there are SLAs, and these SLAs are being tracked within the Vulcan Cyber tool. So if it's past SLA, it will let you know. And so I'm always working against time to make sure that we meet these SLAs. And I communicate this to these engineers as we meet for the first time and let them know, how long they have to remediate these findings, these vulnerabilities.
All right, just to get clarification on the 60 and 90, it means 60 days and 90 days for critical vulnerabilities?
30 days for critical and 60 days for medium, and then the lows, and then the other ones that are just informational. If it's low, we are not required to remediate.
All right, thanks for the insight.
Critical, high, and medium, yeah.
Okay, so Ichiyama, you are throwing SLAs around, and somebody is there like scratching their head. I said, what are they talking about? And I always want to break things down grandpa style. What is an SLA?
So SLA is oh, you want me or you want okay.
No, go ahead. I mean, you are the one who was asking the question, so.
Oh, okay. So SLA is the time assigned to make sure the company's time assigned to make sure a job is done.
Okay. So if anybody and if Teresa also want to maybe dive a little bit deep more into that. That way, I mean, we're all here to learn, right? So if somebody is on there not up to speed, then they will know exactly what you're talking about. But what does it stand for though? SLA.
SLA is
service level agreement.
Service level agreement. And so this is part of our company policy, that vulnerabilities that are critical, that are high, that are medium, meet certain timeline for remediation. So it's the service level agreement, and it's part of our policy. So for criticals, ours is 30 days, and it's communicated. And there is we make them aware, we train them on the policies we have, so everybody is aware. My job when I meet you is just to remind you that for this critical vulnerability, you have 30 days per ISLA to remediate. And these SLAs are built into the Vulcan tool. So it's telling me how many days left. So it's open that everybody knows.
Thank you. And I think there was a question still in here. Okay, so Leslie and others were putting service level agreement in there. Great, thank you. Now, Teresa, if you can, somebody might also be thinking, I mean, you walked us through some of the things you do. You said you start work at 8:30. Can you walk us through? So 8:30, you open your laptop, you are working remotely. What happens from there till 5? If you can just walk us through that timeline.
Yeah, okay. So when I log in on 8:30, for my team, we do have Even though we are not agile, we have a stand-up meeting in the morning that we update everybody on what we have for the day. And so I just run through my calendar, discuss with them what I have for the day, and then once I do that, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I do have weekly meetings with different teams. And it's my all the job I do is just meeting with people to see how they are doing on their vulnerabilities. So once I would do that 15 minutes call, I just go back to back meetings on with different teams to discuss how they are progressing on their remediations. Anybody have any questions, any new ones that come in, I make them aware. I do have a Jira board that I show during meetings to show them this is the board, this is what you are responsible for. All the teams have access to the Jira board. So once an issue is remediated, they just attach the findings. They close. When I meet them, I check to see if all those check marks are met, and then I just move on to the next thing. So it's just me meeting with different teams during the day. When it's 12 o'clock, I take my lunch for 1 hour. I come back sometimes, and just like I mentioned, there is also a program meeting monthly that I do to update the company for, I mean, the status for the program, where what I'm doing with all these vulnerabilities, how we are progressing. So if it happens to be on that day, I will hold that meeting for an hour. And then GRC, the whole entire GRC too, we do have a weekly meeting that we also update on our individual programs as well. So really my day is just normal. And it's not like somebody is calling you to see where you are, because you are working, because you have a target to meet at the end of the month to report. So really that's what I do, unless you have any specific question on anything that you want me to share.
Okay. And so you just mentioned about like a target to meet by the end of the month. Uh, how do you go about meeting that target? Like, do you set your own weekly targets and, to help you meet overall target by the end of the month? And how is your target like?
So I said target because for me, month to month, I have metrics to show how I'm doing for new vulnerabilities added, how many remediated, how many that are still pending, how many criticals came in, and how many are remediated from that point, how many assets, how many new assets were added to Vulcan. And it shows the count for each vulnerability for each asset. And so, and then I have to also speak to the overall security posture for the company, because all our assets are integrated with Vulcan, and Vulcan will give you the overall security posture. So for me, we need to have a good rating, right? And that is what I meant by the target. Each month, I want to show that our security posture is improving. And I can do that by working with these teams to make sure that their findings, their vulnerabilities are remediated. And sorry, I keep saying findings because in Vulcan too, we do have findings from our penetration testing that I also work with the teams on.
Okay, Teresa, thank you. Now for, up to where you've been talking through what you've been doing. How did you get there? Like, how was the journey like from where did you start to where you are currently? What did you do in terms of training? What was your background? And, if you can walk us through briefly how you got to where you are right now. So if anybody is looking to get there, what are some of the things they're supposed to do? But we are going to go more deep into, what are some of the things they're supposed to do based on what you know now. But how did you start your own journey from where you were to, and what even triggered you to, jump into cybersecurity?
So to answer your first question, Dr. Du, I mean, my background, like I mentioned earlier, was a project manager, no cybersecurity knowledge or anything like that. Uh, I think I first took a training with a group on RMF, just that it wasn't enough for me to get any job, because once you go on the job, they want to know your basic knowledge in cybersecurity, and just RMF was not enough. So after the training, I did many interviews, which I never got a job. And then a friend here just mentioned to me about Eretmis Academy, which I signed up. The training was like 3 months, and it's just the basic concepts in cybersecurity. And this was just Dr. Du's training. It was hands-on. And it's not like you, compared to the RMF, they just taught me theory, which nobody even showed me the frameworks. They just said we have 19 controls and there was nothing for me to see what the controls are. But I joined the Eretmis internship, academy internship, like hands-on. And it was really what set the stage for me to be where I am today. That training gave me the basic knowledge in the field. And I mean, just like I said earlier, after the training, like a month or two, I applied for jobs all over, and somebody just reach out to me, and it wasn't long for me. I think my first interview, and that's when I got a job. Yeah, and then Dr.
Okay.
DeWolf, the second question.
So the second question, I'll rephrase.
Okay.
What really prepared you for the job? Like now, if somebody is supposed to go through and do the same thing you are doing, with what you know now, what do you think they can do to prepare themselves to be able to do exactly what you are doing?
Yeah, so to answer that question, Dr. Du, really, there was many of us that joined the internship program. My team alone, we were like 23. And it more so depends on you, right? So in the training, when like weekly meetings, some did not show up. So a great commitment on your part to commit to learn, to commit to do the work given. It's one great way for you to be where I am today. Because if you just join and you don't commit yourself to consuming the information given, doing the assignments that you are given, you will not get anything out of the internship. So I hope Dr. Edu answered your question.
Yes. And also, like you were talking about the like going back to what you do on daily basis, the National Vulnerability Database, CVSS core, and all that. Where do you get to, learn all that to be able to function on the job? Because frankly, I don't know what training will really go through that. Most training, GRC training will just touch on frameworks, and then that's it. You are done. How did you get to know all these to be able to function in the role that you are in?
So when I got on the job, right, really I didn't have much knowledge in that, but I saw that there was this one engineer that I work with who would just share with me new CVEs that are coming in that we need to look at. So she really took the time with me and said that, so when I send you these CVEs, this is where you can go to and understand what they are and the recommended remediations, so that when you meet with the teams, you know what to say, what to do. And once we went through that training, I mean, I took it upon myself to really go there every day, like as often as I can, to really learn. Because as I told you, this Vulcan tool is just bringing in new stuff. But for the CVEs, she just gets the alert, right, as the engineer, and she just shares them with me. And she's like, we need to work on this. And so once I get that, I have to research more and learn more about it. That's how I kept myself updated on the CVE side.
All right. So simply, what I get from what you're saying is you have to be a continuous learner,
Yeah.
right? So keep learning. On the job, you are still learning. So if you are always learning and you are striving to, learn new stuff, you'll be able to do well on the job. Now, there are some questions in the chat for you. Do you always have to stay online working even if you don't have anything to do?
There's rarely a day that you would say you don't have anything doing. Because as you can see here, yes, I've got 3 additional team members that they are also meeting with new stakeholders to remediate. So it's like every day there's something to be worked on. But one thing I want to say is that nobody is watching you. Are you online? Are you not online? I mean, I do take my frequent breaks, 1 hour break lunch. Sometimes I log off 20 minutes to do stuff for myself. And it's not like I don't have anything doing, but even though it's remote, uh, I'm able to get some time for myself. But one thing I want to say is that even though it's remote, I want to keep myself responsible, accountable to the work I've signed up for. so you don't abuse the remote portion of it. So I always try to show a positive attitude, even though I'm just remote. I try to be there and do the work.
All right, thank you. And another question: did you have security plus before securing this role?
So I had security plus, right? But even before I joined Eretmis Academy, but when I went to the interview, nobody asked me about any certification. So it's just me trying to achieve and do something for myself. But what I just want to say is that getting a job is not about how many certifications you have. If you go to the interview and you are able to speak that on the internship, this is the hands-on experience that I got. Like speak to whatever they're asking you. Nobody will dare even ask you about how many certifications you have.
Right. And I think Andy is asking the name of your company. And
Signify. Signify.
okay,
Yeah.
Signify. Okay, and then there's another question: how many people report to you?
For now, 3 people.
All right, and another question: which vulnerability newsletters did you sign up for, and which database do you use?
So the database is the National Vulnerability Database. That's one common one that I use. And then for the newsletter, let me see if I have the name here. Yeah, I'll share that in the chat.
All right, and for maybe folks who are asking the National Vulnerability Database, what is it? We did a cyber chat on it a while ago. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you see that one. And also, we also did a cyber chat on CVSS course. I think that was together with the National Vulnerability Database, right? And in the internship, I'm not sure if during Theresa's group there was, we didn't do a full project on it, but there was some videos on vulnerability research where we took you through the National Vulnerability Database, CVSS course, also MITRE in Attack, OWASP Top 10, and all those, right? So, and for OWASP Top 10 and all those, we have also done some cyber chats on them. So if you go through our YouTube channel, without even you being part of the internship, you'll still be able to get some info on that as well, right? Now, also, I think, is there any question in there that I missed? And you can also raise your virtual hand and ask your question. So everybody is my co-pilot tonight, right? All right, yeah. So Leslie is saying there are videos on vulnerability research in there, right? Okay.
So I shared the newsletter. There's one from Threat Post, Dark Reading, and then Krebs on security.com. Those are the ones that I go to read news on.
Okay. Please, the name of the company was, I think Theresa mentioned the name of the company already. So somebody's also
Signify.
Signify. Yeah. Okay. So, and then if there are any questions still in here, I think like all the questions in there have been answered. Now, my question, probably maybe the last two, and then we'll be about to wrap up.
Dr. Edu, quickly, can I ask a quick question about Signify? Is it?
Kindly hold on.
Okay.
Let me mute everybody first. I think somebody unmuted themselves. Okay, go ahead, Andy. You are muted, Andy, if you're trying to speak.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so it says Signify a healthcare, what kind of organization is it?
Healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I muted everybody because I think somebody unmuted themselves unknowingly and they were speaking on the background.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So, Theresa, how did you prepare for your interview? That is a good question to help everybody else maybe prepping for interviews now. How did you do? How did your interview prep go?
So for my interview prep, I guess maybe I'll I'll go back a little bit. I mean, after the internship, right? Dr. Du takes us through how you can even prep your resume. So I followed all the instructions, set up all my my professional links, and I applied jobs on Indeed and LinkedIn. And then for the interview, I think for this specific one, I recall rightly, um, for the first two ones that I did, I booked an appointment time with Dr. Du in his appointment system. And then I shared ahead of time, I shared the job description with him. And so he met with me, and I mean, the kind of support I got, uh, I'm not being paid to say anything, but it was good, right? So he went through all the, I learned that before you go to job interview, every bullet point you need to be able to speak to that bullet point because you don't know what the person is going to ask. So for every bullet point on the job description, Dr. Du came with guidance. This one, you need to look at this. This one, you need to look at this. For the ones I did not know, I went to research more and learn more about those topics. And then I remember the time that I scheduled with him, we met, and then the next level to I scheduled another session, and Dr. Duke couldn't show up. But Dr. Duke called me, I think around 6 o'clock. Teresa, I'm ready for you. I said, Dr. Duke, I'll be there. I was late for an hour. He spent time with me all that evening to ask me these questions, how I was prepared to answer these questions. So all I'm saying is that it's not just about you going to the Eretmis Academy to be trained, but the support you get afterwards is immense. The support to even put together your resume and let alone guide you to know what you are going to say because the job is specific to a specific domain. And on the internship, we received broad basic knowledge about cybersecurity. But each of these roles that you're going to apply might focus on maybe risk assessment, third party, and so you need to channel your mind to that specific job description. And that is the support I got for me for this vulnerability management role because there wasn't much when I checked the description, there was more I needed, but Dr. Du helped me to fill those gaps. And when I even went for the interview, the hiring manager told me that, Teresa, you didn't schedule the interview time early enough. We've hired somebody, so we're not going to hire you. But he said we are going to create. I will get back to you, and it's just getting a normal email and saying that we didn't hire you. But this hiring manager called me and said that I was really impressed with your interview, but we hired somebody already. In 3 weeks' time, this guy called me and gave me this role. So all I'm saying is that it's not just the internship you are going, but you're going to get a lot of support along the way. And these tools that you are given during the training, they are going to help you on the job so that when you go, you're not going to say, what do I do? I never called Dr. Du to say, I don't know what to do because really I was given everything I need to know for the job. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Teresa. Thank you. Now, there are some two questions in here that we're going to tackle, and then from Abraham, did you have cybersecurity portfolio or to showcase your hands-on projects to the recruiter at the time? And then so you can go through that first. So and Abraham, if your question is not well answered, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
So what I remember is, I mean, on the internship, we were given different teams to work with. And so I remember during the interview, they asked me about, how will you work on a vulnerability with different team members, right? So that team dynamics that played in our internship group is what I use to speak to that question. So it might not directly be related, but the experience that you get from the internship, you can speak to them during the interview. because they are really real world experience. We did third-party risk assessment, and we went through those controls, like what you need to do. We went through audit. So if they ask me, yes, I'm going to say the things that my teammates that I worked with during that risk assessment that happened during the interview. And I'm not sure if I answered your question. You can say more to it if.
All right. Thank you, Teresa. There's another question. Did you apply through the company's website, or they used an easy apply, or I mean, was it on LinkedIn or any of these places, or did you actually apply through the company's website?
I used Indeed.
Okay.
That specific job was through Indeed.
Okay. And I think there was another one here from Jason. Jason is joining us from Japan. Based on the market now, what role would be the most available, or is it like, Jason, are you trying to say the most available for you, or like the most available to get, or the easiest to get?
Overall, Doc, is it hybrid, on-site, remote? That's what I'm
Okay.
asking the role.
Okay.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Jason. Teresa, please go ahead.
So really, like I said earlier, for me, I have little ones. I just told myself I want remote, and I got it. But somebody told me that their job description was hybrid. He went for the job and they made him remote. So some of these hybrid, what I'm saying is that they just want to put in there that if there is ever the need for you to come to the office, you don't say that you are remote, so you are not coming. But once they hire you, mostly you are going to spend your time remote. So it's just the reality. But for me, it's just remote, and it depends on whatever the market offers, right? So I can't really tell which one is easier. It depends on where you are located, what you are looking for, and all those factors. So maybe I would defer to Dr. Edu to add more.
Yeah, so I wouldn't really limit myself to whether remote or on site. I mean, just apply to any and every job, do the interviews. Like I'm saying, there are some jobs that were hybrid. We have a lot of students who started off as hybrid. They showed up once in the office and that was it, right? They're like, you don't have to show up, right? Some even started as on site, but it will eventually lead into maybe hybrid or remote. So if you limit yourself, when you are searching in the search engines, if you are limiting yourself to remote, there will be some jobs that are remote but wouldn't have the tag remote, right? So you are just reducing the number of jobs that are out there for you, right? So just apply for anything and everything. The goal here, when you are really, looking for your first gig or second gig, the goal is to get as many interviews as possible, right? So you can't get those by limiting yourself to specific, so I can be in New York and interviewing for a job in Seattle, and I have no, wishes of moving to Seattle, but I'm doing it for a purpose, because that Seattle interview, regardless of how well or how bad I do, is prepping me for the next interview of the one that I'm really yearning to get or to do, right? So look at it more that way than to say, okay, I just want a perfect scenario, get a perfect company, do the interview, because like, what is your guarantee that that interview you are doing is going to land you the job? But I can guarantee you, if you do more interviews, you get better and you'll be able to eventually get the job you're looking for. Right. So that will be my take on that. Now, there's another question. So BAM is asking, is the training you had, like the training that you went through, was it a vulnerability analyst training?
So the training I went through was just the basic cybersecurity knowledge through the internship. But just like Dr. you mentioned earlier, during our time, yes, we went through the MIDA attack. We went through those earlier frameworks. I think that was the first one we did. So really, the only training I had was those frameworks that we learned, right? But again, what I've come to realize is that once you get the basics, it's easier to apply this knowledge to every field. So if there is this security audit you have to do. You have to run them against some controls, right? And in the end, you have to like see where the gap is and how you can close the gap. It's the same way that I can relate that knowledge to vulnerability management. So what I would say is that the training didn't cover all that I'm doing now, but it gave me the basics of cybersecurity. And that is all you need. And once you get that basic knowledge, you can relate that knowledge to every field, even though it was not covered. You can like study the field and really understand what they are asking you to do.
Thank you, Teresa. And I think that was so, and there are some, thank yous in here for, being a role model. Your story is impressive. There is a whole bunch of them in here. So your last words for the group before we wrap up.
So maintenance has the logs, right? Maintenance.
Oh,
They have the show.
kindly go ahead, Teresa. Oh, Matthew, did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
Yes, thank you so much. I wanted to ask, what are the metrics that they use to evaluate your performance? Then number two is that how were you able to handle your first 30 to 60 days when you resumed the office? Thank you.
Yeah, so on the metrics side for performance, really at the end of the year, it's just company goals that we are evaluated against, right? And once you join every company, I know mostly companies, you set your goal, right? There's team goals, there's individual goals. And really, my goal was around the program that I'm leading. And so really, it was how I've been able to collaborate with the teams to drive vulnerabilities down in the company. And I mean, I had the KPIs to show, month to month how these vulnerabilities were coming down. So really, I was evaluated on the goals that I set for the program and how I collaborated with different teams and what others had to say about me in the end, in my communication, in my meeting with them too. So those were the metrics. I don't know if that answers the question. And then you said my first 30 days.
Yeah.
My first 30 days really was trying to get the broader picture. So as I said earlier, when I got there, they were now implementing the Vulcan tool. And so it was just all training to understand what the tool does. So it was really beneficial for me. And then once I got there, this tool was integrating with Jira, which as a project manager before, I've had many years of experience using Jira. So it wasn't something new for me. Really was what I needed to know more was the scanning tools. And again, the Vulkan tool was now being built. And so all these integrations from the scanning tools, I was there to witness and also understand the setup, how the scoring was going to be, how we were going to apply our policy, our SLA, to show that we are SLA compliant with all these metrics in there. So I was very lucky to learn from scratch. So for me, I learned in the first 30 days to use all those new tools.
Thank you.
All right. I think Matthew had the last question, and I'm not sure if there are two questions, I think, in there. So, okay, the one from. So John is asking, how many people secured jobs in your internship group?
In my internship group, I would say about 3 or 4. And I'm not surprised because even before we started, we were around 23. But by the time we're ending, we're around 15 or so. So just like I said, it's all about commitment. And people will go to the extent to sign up for the program, but they will not commit their time to it. So that is why if I say 4, those 4 people were committed. They showed up every meeting. And that was really explain why those 4 got a job.
And then also, for the group, Teresa, they are mostly in 2 groups,
Yeah.
right? You start with group ADDI and group diaspora care. So she's speaking for her group.
Yeah.
Right. Now, getting a job, they are really broken down into 3 tiers. Some people are, like Teresa, they are really in the first year. They are pushing it, they are doing everything, carrying the whole team on their back. Now, that tier, mostly they'll get a job even before the internship is over, or as soon as the internship is over. So always there'll be like some 2 to 4 who will get jobs before the internship. And then the next year is people who will start applying and start pushing after the internship. That is like within 2 months to 3 months, like 1 to 3 months, right? And the other tier, whom you're going to call and, hey, Teresa, so we've not heard about anything that you are doing, nor your resume. Are you applying? Yeah, Dr. Edu, so I will start applying. Those people, some even never apply for a job, right? And for when eventually they get serious and they start applying, they reach out for help and they do get jobs, right? So we can always break them into categories. Somebody will finish and, probably they will turn around and come back maybe after 6 months. That is when they want to apply for jobs. So mostly if everybody was doing exactly what like Teresa and everybody else was doing, by the time they were done, I think probably if they were 25, at least 20 will get a job, within the next 3 months. But, like she said, our very first internship, we started with 65 people. Guess how many graduated? Like 30. Some people will just show up, pay, okay, I want to do it. Now, when they start, they are like, this happened and that happened, and they'll just fall off the wagon. Others will stay to the end, but applying for a job now, they are like, I don't want to move out of my comfort zone, right? So really, you have a part to play. We have a part to play, and our part is we are going to be there to support you the whole entire time. Now, your part is to make sure you're actually applying and doing what exactly we tell you, right? So, any last words for the group before we wrap up, Teresa?
What? Oh,
All right.
I had
So I believe that I've said a lot, and all I would say is that if you are looking to make a career switch and you are not decided, do not. I would say that go for it. Because looking at the job I used to do before, many years I spent there, and given how much, coming to this field, few years, and how much I get, I think is worth the time for you, is worth I mean, the value is great. So do not hesitate. And then there are also myths out there. You need to have all the certifications, all the technical knowledge, and all that before you can get a job. Once you get the basic training, you can apply to every job that you find after. So, and for those that have signed up for the next internship, what I would say is that when you go, it all depends on you, how much you can get out of the training. Because there was a lot of us, Dr. Du came every week and shared a lot. But you could see that when we go to even ask for group team members to bring what they researched for the week, we got responses from 2, 3. So your commitment in that internship will determine what you get out at the end, and even if you are going to get a job. So I guess my last word. Do not just commit to being in this field. It's a very interesting field to be in. Do not be scared and think that you need so much in technical knowledge to be here. It's continuous learning. So once you get a basic training from the internship, you can build on that knowledge. And if you decide and you are going to go into the internship, commit your time. If it's 3 months, commit that 3 months. Let other stuff hold off, and then commit your time and everything to get the best out of what you can get during the 3 months. And once you are done, it will speak for itself and you will easily get a job. So really, that's what I have to say. Thank you, everyone, for hosting me today.
All right, Teresa. So there were some last minute questions in here, which I think I can answer those. So for Teresa, she's going to put in her LinkedIn so you can, get her on LinkedIn. The number, I mean, just get the LinkedIn, and I think you'll be able to still talk to her on LinkedIn. And Kwame was asking, how did you change your LinkedIn to secure your first role? That we can talk to that also offline because we are wrapping up. Alan is asking, did you complete I think Alan is asking if you completed the entry level, not the beginner's class, because the beginner's class is just an introductory class, or you just the GRC internship. So Teresa did the GRC internship.
Yeah.
Yes. And then some, so I think like that is about it. So Teresa, if you don't mind, you can put in your LinkedIn in the chat, or when we send out the replay, we can also add Teresa's LinkedIn on there for you to be able to link up with her. So on that note, we are wrapping up. And for everybody else, thank you for joining us. We were at a peak, we were at 108 on there. So thank you, Teresa, for your time and sharing all this wealth of knowledge with us. It's always a privilege to have one of our very own, come back and listen to us. And for everybody, you can also be in this position because Teresa was listening to Cyber Chat, listening to other people, and then now it's her, on there also, speaking about what she's doing. So anybody and everybody can be on here also talking about what they are doing. For us, what we can promise is that there is hard work that you are going to do. We are going to be there to guide you through the hard work. There is no magic to this, right? We're not going to sit here and say, oh, within 45 days, you're going to get a job. Within 45 days, what are you going to get in terms of knowledge and skill? That is what matters. You can get a job within 10 days and get fired within 20 days, right? But get a job and do it comfortably. Like Teresa is saying, we didn't necessarily do a risk analyst project, but she's able to function there because of all that we expose her to, right? So all the tools she's using, we didn't use these tools during the internship. And like anybody who is like really bent on tools, all the tools she's using at work, you cannot really learn all of them before you get any job. And during interviews, they were not so much concerned about, do you know how to use this? Do you know how to use that? Do you know how to, right? They are more concerned about what can you do, right? So what can you do for the tools? They can train you within a week, 2 weeks. But if you don't know cybersecurity, you've not worked on any project, it's not their job to train you on that one, right? So now wrapping up our AI governance class, everybody like Teresa and everybody else working in the security space, this is the next thing that you have to jump on, the AI governance. Get on this ahead of time. That way you're going to be part of the pioneers in the AI governance space. So if you're looking to jump onto this one, our next cohort is going to start probably sometime early May. So you can join us. And for our cloud security, if you're also in the security space, you've done some training elsewhere, you've even done some cloud training elsewhere, this is vendor neutral. We cover all the cloud service providers out there. So, and then we also teach you exactly what has to be done in terms of the managerial and strategic part of the cloud. And then for everybody looking to start a career in the cybersecurity field, this is the best program that is going to take you from where you are to where you can start working in different roles in the cybersecurity side, on the blue side, on the blue team of cybersecurity, right? We don't do anything on the red side, penetration testing and the rest. Everything we do is on the blue side. So including vulnerability analyst, GRC specialist, right? Everybody on that side. If you go through this, it is really going to set the foundation for you. And then we have our PCI DSS program, our payment security program. This is a niche within the cybersecurity space. This is what Eretmis Inc. does for a living, right? And we have a program on that also as well. So if you're looking to specialize in cybersecurity, you can look into jumping into this one. And then for our GRC internship, the almighty GRC internship and workshop, for everybody else coming outside our entry-level, students, this is a workshop and it's a paid workshop, right? For if you are a student in the entry level, is the second portion of the program is our internship. And this is where you actually get to work on real world projects. We expose you to a lot, way too much than you need for the job, right? And during interviews, you are able to speak to things that you've done, not something that you just read. You can read about it all you want, but if you've never done it, it's going to show in your delivery during interviews. And even if they give you the job without an interview, what are you really going to do on the job? Right. So like Teresa is getting up in the morning, she's confident, she knows what she's doing, meeting with different people without panicking. And that is what you need, right? You don't want to get this job and everybody's happy for you, but you are not happy for yourself because you are scared to go to work because you don't know what to do or what you are going to do, or when somebody's going to find out, you don't know what you're doing, right? So our internship is starting tomorrow. Our very first meeting is tomorrow. And all that information has been sent out already. If you are part of this and you've not received anything, kindly let us know. We will shoot you an email. But everybody should have received all the follow-up information about this. Our WhatsApp group has been posted, so kindly use the link to join. And then also our YouTube channel, everything that we do has been posted, is being transmitted live on there. And you can also watch our previous cyber chats on there. And Teresa, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and you are an inspiration to all of us. And thank you very much. We might also be reaching back. And if you can put your tools, the tools that you are using, before we wrap up, if you can put them in the chat for other people to also look into, we will much appreciate that. But for everybody else, we appreciate your time. Thank you. We are going to meet same time next week, and with another edition of Cyber Chat. We're still going to bring, I think we are shooting for Isaac. If he has time next week, we'll bring him. He's doing SOC. He's a SOC analyst. So that will also give us a different flavor and a different twist, right? Thank you, everyone. Have a great and wonderful rest of the weekend. We are going to meet same time.